Hey, it's Ryan Edwards. It's another beautiful day, another video. Just a thought that I wanted to touch on. I had a wonderful experience yesterday. As I mentioned a lot, I'm a notary, and I was doing a purchase for a couple who were buying a home. It was an investment home for their son, which I thought was really cool. They're buying a home for their son to live in college, kind of take one of those things off his mind so he can kind of focus on school. But anyway, I could just feel it. You know, my background's in marketing, and I'm real interested in things like psychology and items of that nature. So as soon as I walked in the room, I just felt it. Plus, I was running like 2 minutes late. It was a brand new building. I couldn't find an entrance, so I was just flustered, and I think you get where I'm going here. But anyway, right off the bat, you can tell, and you can see their expression. And he was just sizing me up, and I could feel it, and he could feel that I could feel it. And you know me, I'm Mr. Businessman. I power through anything. So I'm continuing on with my presentation in order to close his house. And he just wants to stop me, and he's asking me a bunch of questions like, you know, asking about my background and my upbringing and what schools I went to and things like that. So, you know, I answered him and continued on. And his wife was giving me some hard questions and things, being a little difficult. But that's okay. I appreciate that because it makes me sharp. Especially when people ask me new questions, it brings a challenge to me that I've never had before. But anyway, this was a black couple, and I didn't know what they were doing, but you know, it was just something about them. But anyway, he got into it, and you know how the old heads, the black dudes, he really wanted to minister to me, and he began to talk about image, and he began to talk about the importance of image, and he was saying personally that he was in a firm and he's had thousands of employees under his belt, and he's very familiar with the employee attainment process and HR and corporations and how they view people and what type of people they like on their staff. And he looked right at me in my face, and he was saying, if I was in charge of putting you in front of people, I wouldn't do that. I would have you in the back somewhere. And then you know, he was very classy about it. You could tell it was no ill intent, no malice, very genuine. It was all love. It was definitely all love. But he said, young man, you know, you've got to fit the image. He was like, you don't have to like it, but you definitely have to fit the image. And of course, what he was referring to was my hair. And he just said, my hair is wild and crazy, which it is. I make no apologies for that. And I said, yes, it's supposed to be wild and crazy. That's the style. But my fade is cold, though. I'm like, you don't check the fade. I'm tight. But he wasn't interested in any of that. And he was just really breaking down some stuff and schooling me on some stuff, and talking about how a lot of his associates and his buddies, especially those of other races and things, they're not going to take out the time and mentor me like that. They're not going to take out the time and say that we don't like you because of your hair. If you cut your hair, then we'll hire you. He was explaining that they're pretty much just going to move on and pick somebody else, and then I'll be lost in the dust and won't understand why and what happened. So, you know, that kind of resonated with me, because I kind of knew already, just because of my sales background, what the standard person is supposed to look like in sales and the face of a company and things like that. You know, clean cut, shaven, blue blazer, white shirt, red tie, the classic look. And you know, I get kind of full of myself sometimes. I'm big bad business owner. You know, I'm one of the best in Richmond. I can look however I want to look, and that's okay to an extent if you want to get to a certain level. But in order to break past that level, sometimes you just have to fit the mold, and that's tough, especially as a black man, because you want to be cool as well, and it's kind of hard to be cool and balance what's going on as far as how to be successful and things like that. It's really a challenge. And, you know, we talked about that, and he explained, he says he understands that it's the style, it's current, and all the rappers either have dreads or the little crazy thing that I got, or, you know, even worse, all that brown stuff and all that extra stuff. But anyway, he was explaining how his own son had the same hairstyle, and he was just saying that if his son expected to get any further funds from him, that he was going to have to do something about that, that he was going to have to cut that hair. And I'm kind of looking at him. I'm like, you know, because I have a different perspective. I have different levels of experience than he does. And he just was saying, yeah, it makes a big deal. It's a big deal. It makes a big difference on how people perceive you. He also went in to say that, you know, right off the bat, he wouldn't want somebody like that looked like me closing my loan. And I was a little like, what, bruh? Like, I was a little offended by that. I'm not even going to front with you. But, you know, I had to be humble about it and just take in what this man was saying. Because, you know, he didn't have to take out his time to mentor to me, to minister to me, and to help me with certain things. He really didn't have to do that. So anyway, he was just saying he was skeptical. He saw me and he was just like, whoa, this brother looks crazy. And I really don't think I look crazy, but, you know, I can't see myself. So that's one thing or the other. But anyway, long story short, and he was saying, luckily, you're intelligent and you're experienced and you know what you're doing. And once you actually start a conversation with me, that comes across, and it made him feel a little bit comfortable. But I'm like, man, a lot of times you don't get that opportunity. Sometimes you only get that first 10, even if it's 10 seconds. Sometimes people size you up 3 seconds, the instant that they look at you. And it's just powerful, the things that come across. You know, you really have to be conscious of that. You know, making sure your shirt's ironed, everything's crisp and neat. And as a businessman, you're always on display. You definitely got to remember that. And that's something that I forget sometimes, that you're just how important the image is in business. And you have a tendency, especially once you start to get a little bit more established. And he was explaining that he respected my humility. You know, I listened to him, but at the same time, I definitely expressed my opinion on why I like my hair like this, and you know, my Afrocentrism and things like that. And he said it's a form of protest. And he was like, if you're going to protest, you need to do it just in a different manner. You need to protest with power and protest with skills and pull. And I can really resonate that. I thought that was really interesting and really powerful. But anyway, turns out this guy actually owns a business in my field, which I didn't even know until like the very end, which is awesome. And it actually turned out to be a really great experience. You know, he taught me some things, definitely shared some history as far as the black hairstyles and some of the blackface and black caricatures of the day, and how it relates and how it looks to how the black men and women are looking today. And he was just saying to be conscious of that. And but anyway, in addition, they turned out to be a very successful couple. You know, I'm not going to go into specifics, but they both work for some very large corporations here in Richmond. And you know, they both have an extensive education background. They both went to Harvard. He was showing me his car, the kind of car he drives, and it was, I'm not going to say what kind of car it is because it's in Richmond, and it's one of those cars that is so expensive that if you saw it, you would be like, oh, okay, I know that's him. And I'm just not going to put him out there like that. But he told me to reach out to him, and he gave me his business card and everything. I was really excited about that. He was like, I expect to see an update of you in a new hairstyle, young man. And you know, the guy was 50. And he was retired, and he's been all over the world. And he says every year he goes to some foreign nation over in Europe and China and stuff for his birthday. So he definitely had the credibility. And you just kind of step back and think to yourself, it's like, man, do I want a lot of success, or do I want to look cool? Do I want a lot of success? Do I want to look cool? And obviously, I think, you know, where we're going with this. I will be going to the barbershop. I think I'm going to hold on to it. I'm hard-headed, so I'm going to hold on to it for another week or so. But I think I will listen to him. And the point of this video is when an old head or somebody in the status that you want to be in, or in a place in life that you would like to be, or that you see yourself, when they tell you something, you can always be an adult and take things with a grain of salt. But when somebody really takes out the time and you can tell that it's genuine and they're trying to help you, and they tell you something from experience, from where they've been and the experiences they've been through, I think you should listen. So many of the, Brian Tracy says somebody who has experience, has spent thousands of hours on that subject already, and just listening to their advice can save you years of trial and error and troubleshooting and going through things the hard way. It can really save you a lot of time, and it can really boost boost your situation and boost where you're at. So I'm just like, and this was a black guy. He's supposed to be on my team. I'm just imagining if he thinks I look crazy and stuff like that. Just imagine how the other demographics may feel about me. And at the end of the day, I really don't care personally how you feel about me. But as far as business, I'm not going to let something as simple as a hairstyle get in the way of my money. I'm sorry, just simple as that. I'll do what I have to do, and I'm not a sellout. I'm definitely still my own person. I definitely still have my own personality. I'm gonna still throw my swag on. I probably still have a cold fade, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just gonna have to do it in a more professional manner. And he kind of metaphorically handed me the torch. You could tell he was proud. I must have reminded him of his son. I must look kind of like his son. But he was like, he handed off the torch. He was like, pay it forward. You have some good insight and you have some good skills and some good ideas. He was like, pay it forward, pass it to the young brothers around you that may not know any better. And at the end of the day, I just really appreciate it. I thought it was really dope that he was honest with me. He wasn't scared to say what he felt. He never raised his voice. He never was condescending. He never got nasty. But the old heads, some of these old heads, man, if they're in a position that you want to be in, you might want to think twice before you just blow them off. You might want to think twice before, man, forget that guy, man. He don't know what he's talking about. You might want to think twice about that, because they've been through a lot of things. They've probably been through a lot of the same things that you've been on. And, he started to touch on the importance of, he touched on a lot of things. He touched on the importance of having a good mate and being your equal, and women are more than just a big butt and a smile, and what are they bringing to the table, and how are they helping you to sharpen becoming a better person. And this guy was deep. I grilled him. I was like, what are some of your experiences? And he told me about his life plan and how he made it 30 years ago, and he's made some adjustments, but pretty much he stuck to what he wanted to do. And personally for me, that's inspiration. What's more inspiring than seeing somebody who looks like you, who came from a similar background like you, to grow up and do the things that you want to do? And honestly, if you take their experience that they had and apply it to yours, you may be able to get there a little bit faster. But anyway, that's it. I think you get the point. Peace, love, and blessings as always. Y'all have a good day.